Right, busy Monday. Only going to get busier to get across it all. Let's bring in Dennis Shanahan now, National Editor of The Australian. Dennis, welcome. I'll start with The Voice. You would have heard me just then. A key push from Labor during question time as well. But I want to play a little bit of remarks from the Indigenous Minister, Linda Burney, in question time for your reaction.
I want to conclude by quoting another former Prime Minister, and I quote, "The Australian people want to move. They want to move towards a new settlement on this issue. I will put to the Australian people within 18 months a referendum to formally recognise Indigenous Australians in our Constitution." Everyone, that Prime Minister was John Howard in 2007, 15 years ago. If not now, when?
I remember, Dennis, hearing that speech, and she is being disingenuous, Linda Burney there. John Howard didn't propose anything akin to the Voice. He just abolished ATSIC, which you'll recall. What he proposed was a line added to the preamble as a grace note to the Constitution. He never, ever proposed a new race-based body or race-based rights. I don't think being loose with the truth is going to help Labor here, but it was a key focus of question time, wasn't it?
Oh, it certainly was. The issue of The Voice was Labor's issue all the way through question time, while the coalition worked away on cost of living. And of course, one of the reasons Labor was doing that today is because tomorrow the Reserve Bank meets and interest rates and inflation will become the big economic issues. But as far as Linda Burney was concerning, and look, I know that her and John Howard actually get on quite well together, but she was a bit misleading there because what John Howard was proposing was nothing like what The Voice is as being proposed by Anthony Albanese. But I think Linda Burney needs to actually get her ducks in a row. She seems to be wandering around. She's sending out mixed messages on the timing of the referendum, the type of the referendum, whether there will be a treaty, whether there will be other issues. And I think that while Anthony Albanese has been very keen, genuinely trying to get this underway as quickly as possible, has put out a fairly simple referendum, or the words for the referendum in the Constitution, but the big issue, and this is where Linda Burney needs to start to get across some more detail, and where I think Anthony Albanese will ultimately provide more detail, and that is how it will work. The Labor Party is absolutely committed to this. Anthony Albanese must get it through now. He's invested so much in it, and they can't afford to have it lose because of people thought, we don't know what it's about, we don't know how it's going to work. And I think Peter Dutton maintains an open mind on this. David Littleproud, as Nationals leader, says, I want to see more detail. We have Julian Leeser almost in favour of The Voice. So the coalition position is not settled. Anthony Albanese is trying to keep the pressure on the coalition.
But how are they going to go having a question that basically says that to the Australian people, trust us on this body and we'll fill in all the blanks and do all the detail after the election? I mean, under the terms or after it passes, let's say it passes, under the terms of the Constitution and the rules for referenda, you have to put a bill through the Parliament and has to lay out there for a certain period of time in order to put the question to the people. Now, I can't see any bill getting through the Parliament that doesn't have more granularity, more detail beyond what the Prime Minister announced yesterday as a proposed question at Garma. I think that's the critical problem for them. I don't think they'll get away with a no detail model, and I think a no detail model will fail if it goes to the people.
That's certainly the danger for Anthony Albanese, and I think the other issue is what will the Greens want in the other direction. They're obviously sending out signals about getting a treaty and other more radical steps.
Oh, but Labor's promised that. Hang on, Dennis. Labor have promised truth-telling, the Makarrata. Labor have promised a treaty. I think the Greens want it to come as a trifecta job lot all at once. But Labor's already committed to those other two elements. They're just not talking about them publicly.
Well, that's true, but this is where I go back to Linda Burney sending mixed messages on timing. Anthony Albanese is pretty clear. He wants the referendum on the voice to Parliament, and he wants that and that only at this stage.
All right, let's go to the Newspoll. A good result there for the Prime Minister. I wouldn't have said any surprises, although quite a significant lift. Well, I think he had low expectations getting into the job, so I think he's exceeded expectations. But a big lift probably from any numbers he's previously had. A personal satisfaction of 61%, two-party preferred, and now 56 to 44 Labor's way, obviously. Labor's primary vote up 5 points now from the election to 37. Strong vote there at 6 for One Nation. If you put that with the coalition, that tells you very much where they've lost support over time. Not unexpected honeymoon sort of poll. I'll be keen on the polls that we start to get after we get that budget in October, Dennis, but what's your read?
Well, of course, as to be expected, Anthony Albanese has started well. He had the advantage of a number of foreign trips where he was able to appear on the world stage. He carried that off well. He had a good attitude towards China. And I think that domestically, he has continued his whole compassionate line. I think the budget will be the first formal test on the economy. And as we go in to the end of the year, the honeymoon will begin to cool, and we will see the built-in problem for Anthony Albanese on starting out so well. Like Kevin Rudd, when you start out with a very high satisfaction rating, the chances are it's going to go down at one stage, and that'll be the problem.
I think the benefit for him over Rudd, though, is he's very much a creature, an instinctive creature of the Labor Party. So he'll probably hold his colleagues with him if things get tough the way that Rudd didn't. We've been talking about this last week. US Speaker Nancy Pelosi doing a trip through Asia. She had telegraphed that she was going to Taiwan. A lot of angst, obviously, from Beijing. She was headed that way. Joe Biden, the president, tried to talk her out of it. He said that the military advice was she should not go. The US Defence Chief was out here last week. That was not his advice. He said if she needed military support to go to Taiwan, if she asked for it, they would provide it. Confirmation now that she's Singapore, Malaysia, South Korea and Japan. That's her visit legs. We don't know if Taiwan is in or not. It might be that we're not being told because of security concerns. But if Biden's just had a long call with President Xi and then she doesn't visit Taiwan, what sort of message does that send to Beijing? Well, there are two big mistakes here. Nancy Pelosi, first of all, telegraphing that she was going to go, which then turned it into a big issue. The second big mistake was President Biden saying that she shouldn't go, because he then set up a problem for himself about what President Xi would want. The Chinese said they didn't want her to go. There's all this speculation that she could even be shot down. The whole drama has been overplayed completely. And now, if she does go, it will be seen as a slap in the face for President Xi and for President Biden, who said not to go. And then if she doesn't go, it looks like President Biden has given in to President Xi. So there's no upside for President Biden in this visit. It's been badly handled from the beginning. All they had to do was stick by the mantra of 2 systems, 1 China. Not wrong, Dennis Shanahan. Thank you as always.